I would like to use my time allocation to do my maiden speech, if that's all right. Madam Speaker, thank you for your indulgence. I know that most, if not all, of the members in the House already presented their inaugural speech, but I chose to wait because I wanted to wait to have my family, my friends, my campaign, and my supporters here with me today. I would like to thank all of you for coming, and for the team members that couldn't be here today. Trust me, there will be plenty of opportunities. I would like to start by saying that I live in the best riding in the province of Ontario. I think I started something here. I have the honour and the privilege of representing the best people. I have a diverse riding with folks from every part of the world, and that is home to the hardest working, family-oriented and engaged residents in the province. And I can prove that to be true, Madam Speaker, because everywhere I canvassed, I would meet folks who grew up in Etobicoke, left to go to school or to work, and would often choose to return back to start their families right there in Etobicoke. Or they refused to even consider living elsewhere. During the campaign, I had a little fun competition with my residents to find the longest resident of Etobicoke, and I think I did. I met a lovely couple that had lived in Etobicoke in the same house for 65 years. Now, I'm sure I will get a call tomorrow from a resident who will argue that they in fact live longer, but the point is Etobicoke is a wonderful place to live, and I hope to be that resident one day. Hear, hear. Madam Speaker, the greatest time of my life took place from April to June 7th, 2018. You may wonder why a 2018 campaign period with all the chaos of an election was my greatest time, because I had the best team. I've been involved in the Etobicoke community for many years, ever since I moved to Toronto and worked for councillors representing different parts of Etobicoke. But since I won my nomination in November 2016, I spent every single free moment canvassing, close to 2 years before the election. I was bound and determined to meet and speak to every single resident at least once, if not twice. It was clear when I was doing all of this that change was upon us. Everywhere I went, I spoke to people about their daily struggles. I could feel something was wrong. People were telling me that they were working harder, but they had less and less for their families. And I could sense that people were starting to realize that they were much too forgiving to Kathleen Wynne and the Liberals. They were ready for a new beginning. And I knew then that we needed to get back to the basics. But this was part of a greater movement, a movement that's been in the works for years, a general feeling from the public that in many different places, not just here in Ontario, that politicians weren't serving their people, that they weren't respecting tax dollars, that they were more concerned about PR than doing what's right and what was in the best interest of their citizens. And politicians failed to protect good jobs at home, the very foundation of our economy and society. Madam Speaker, we are not afraid to do what's right. And during this physically grueling time of canvassing every day after work, I met the most sincere, hardworking, professional, and engaged people. It took me about 2 years to build a team, a strong riding association, recruit lots of volunteers, encourage donations, create a great youth group, and form a wonderful campaign team. I and my growing team engaged hundreds of people that were never involved in politics before. And I can say this proudly, we were ready well before the writ dropped to fight for the residents of Etobicoke Centre. Now, I cannot go on without mentioning my core team who is responsible for putting me in this chair. My campaign managers, Dan Jacobs and Richard Longton, my CFO, Enyo Longo, my volunteer chair, Adam Cotter, and my office manager and sign chair, Nick Clark, who's here with us. These 5 very special people not only ran the best campaign, and it is in fact true because Dan Jacobs was nominated at our PC convention just a couple weeks ago for Best Campaign Manager, but they made sure we had so much fun along the way. And so I want to thank all of our wonderful volunteers, all the people that came through the doors to help in the campaign, whether it was to make calls, put up signs, make a donation, or even bring a little treat for our team. We could not have done it without you. Our campaign office became our home, not just for the team, but for members of the community. A safe, warm place with great food, cots, and even our own ice cream truck. No one could question how hard we worked or how organized we were, but we were so much more than that. And of course, my family, my mom, Margaret Surma, my dad, Miroslav Surma, my brother, Conrad, and my sister, Carolina, were all a part of that. Like the Premier always praises his family for being a tight-knit group, so are we. My family has gone through so much, and we always stuck together through all the challenges we faced. From escaping communism and my parents coming here with 3 little ones and only $1,500 in their pockets, from not speaking the language to finding any available work to provide for their family, and the 3 of us siblings trying to accustom to life in Canada, taking care of one another when we were on our own, whether in school or in the neighborhood. We were unbreakable, and we stuck together. If there is one photo that portrays our family for what we are, my favorite photo in our family album, it's a photo of a completely empty room in a tiny little apartment, our first home, with my little sister, who is just over a year old, smiling, standing in a baby crib with the rest of us around. We came here with nothing, but of course the first and only piece of furniture that we had for weeks was my little sister's baby crib. And looking at our faces, you'd never notice we didn't have anything, because we had the most important thing, a loving family. To my family, I love you so much. When I started engaging myself in politics, around the time I worked at City Hall, when Rob Ford was mayor, about 8 years ago, people would often ask me why. Why did I want to get into the dirty blood sport of politics? Oftentimes trying to direct me into a different career path. My father, too, he was guilty of this, wasn't quite sure why his daughter was obsessed with a career choice that is often thankless, not stable, and faced so much scrutiny. And my response was always, if good people don't do it and they're discouraged, who will? I always believed that the legislative process was the best way to bring forward change. And in order to do that, one must be elected and have a voice either at Parliament Hill, Queen's Park, or City Hall. It was City Hall where I first became motivated to run. It wasn't until I experienced the wasteful spending firsthand that I thought to myself, we can do better. And if it was that bad there, I thought, wow, what would it be like at the province? There, I was part of a great team under the leadership of the great Mayor Rob Ford. There were very few of us Conservatives in that building, but we were close and we were never afraid to fight for the taxpayer. Because Rob Ford, he never gave up, no matter how harsh the scrutiny. I always told myself that if I could represent my constituents to 1/10 of that degree that Mayor Rob Ford did, I would be okay. He is irreplaceable, and no one will ever be capable of providing the customer service he did to the residents of Toronto. But I can tell you that he is my standard, and often when I'm not sure what to do, I ask myself, what would Rob Ford do? In my political life, he is my guiding star. With everything I learned at City Hall, the many lessons that my parents taught me throughout my life, and my humble beginnings, I truly felt that I understood the day-to-day challenges of the people of Ontario. And so I kept going, undeterred. Some would say stubborn, to bring forward a strong Conservative government. 8 years later, that day came, and on June 7th, under the leadership of Doug Ford and the PC Party of Ontario, we formed a strong majority government. And today, I get to be part of another great team whose focus is restoring prosperity in Ontario. Today, my team and I, Eva Hera, Natasha Crook, Amanda Ross, and of course with all the folks in the Ministry of Transportation. I can't believe that happened. Oh my God, that must be fake. Not only were we able to provide the best customer service to make life more affordable for the residents of Etobicoke Centre, but also we're doing everything we can to improve public transit, something that I am very passionate about. And do you know what the best part is? I am 100% confident that our team, my colleagues, our cabinet, our premier, and all of the wonderful staff that are a part of this government will get it done.
Hear, hear.
I cannot express to you all how exciting it was to sit in this chair for the very first time. I can admit, sometimes when you wait for something for so long and it finally comes, you almost don't know what to do. Now, after 5 or so months, learning the process here in the House, bonding with my wonderful seatmates, and fighting for the taxpayer, it is truly amazing. And our team is fighting every day, right here from this room. Together in the last 5 months, we've accomplished the following. We've removed the CEO of Hydro One and brought in an entirely new board. We've created a new consultation process to review all of the curriculum, and so far we've had thousands of participants. We cancelled the cap-and-trade carbon tax, reducing costs for Ontario families by $1.9 billion. We allocated $25 million to help law enforcement to address gang violence in the city. We cancelled the Basic Income Research Project, saving Ontarians $17 billion. And one of my favorites, we moved the Better Local Government Act to reduce the size and cost of Toronto's municipal government, fixing council dysfunction that crippled Toronto City Hall. We reduced the cost of gas by 5 cents a litre. We cancelled the Green Energy Act that led to the disastrous feed-in tariff program and skyrocketing electricity rates for Ontario families. We cancelled the outdated and unnecessary Drive Clean program. We revisited Bill 148 to reduce red tape and regulations, the job-killing bill, and we fought for Ontarians during trade negotiations. I could go on for a while, but let me say this. We have had an exciting 5 months. Our government for the people has set a new standard of governance. Everywhere I go, people are talking about how hard we are working, how we're keeping all of our promises, and whether the Premier will actually give us some time off during the holidays. So what's next for us? I will repeat what I said on Friday during my annual Christmas party. We are going to keep at the same rate for the next 4 years. We are bound and determined to bring prosperity back to Ontario. And the people, they know this, and they have faith in us. The volume of people that are emerging and coming forward to share their ideas with us is immense. People, whether residents, stakeholders, business owners, doctors, they are saying that unlike the previous government, we are listening. But we have a huge challenge ahead of us. We are not only faced with a $14.5 billion deficit that we promised we would reduce, but with a media that is not on our side and does not want to see us succeed in resolving many of the problems created by the previous administration. They want to see us fail. But I stand here today to tell all of you, to tell my family, my friends, my colleagues, my supporters, and the members opposite that we will not fail. And the reason that is because the people are behind us. They know we have tough choices ahead of us, but they chose us to make those choices. Now, to end my remarks, I would like to once again thank all of my friends and family and supporters for coming. I would also like to recognize Ted Opitz, who is the Conservative federal candidate like to thank Premier Doug Ford and his entire family for being so supportive, to my riding association for continuing their good work, to all of my colleagues for your constant support and encouragement, and last but certainly not least, to my wonderful residents for giving me the opportunity to sit in this chair and fight for them every day. I will not disappoint you. I look forward to spending more time in the riding during the holidays, and I want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a wonderful New Year.